This is the Gerber Dibs, a very ergonomic, skeletonized fixed blade that comes with a PVD-coated D2 blade that has this gorgeous belly and also has a healthy amount of reverse tonto vibes. Hey everyone, welcome to Salvo EDC. Today we will explore a pretty inexpensive fixed blade which is called the Gerber Dibs, and I'm afraid I don't even have to draw the knife to spot the number one thing I absolutely hate about it, which is not else but this ugly ass sheath. Right after I unboxed this knife, I was just sitting there in silence and I kept asking myself,
what the fuck is this piece of shit?
I'm genuinely curious, what was the concept? First of all, this thing looks like garbage before recycling. I can turn it around to give you a nice 360, and as we inspect it, you can see that it is some kind of a laminate, but the fit and finish is very wonky. And Gerber definitely cut some corners, meanwhile cutting these corners, if you know what I mean. Stone me that I compare the Dibs to a 20 times more expensive Winkler belt knife, but in their philosophy, their sheaths are kind of remotely similar. Probably the funniest part about this sheath is the belt loop, which is just a very thin leather strap that would last about 5 minutes of heavy use. I truly wish we did not have this loop and we got some more eyelid instead, so we could add our own choice of belt attachments to carry this thing. And I think this sheath was a huge mistake by Gerber, because having a good holster is one of the most essential parts of a fixed blade's design, and I wish we got some tactile molded plastic instead. Last final thing I want to show you about this sheath is the way it works. Every single time I draw the Dibs, I must deal with this annoying poorly placed safety strap, which also makes holstering the knife very difficult. Maybe this knife was aimed at Secret Service agents and not real knife users. Anyway, the knife itself without the sheath is truly not that bad. In fact, it looks really nice. That's why I found it interesting enough for a review. It has a pretty attractive design with a large belly, but if we take a closer look, we can also discover some reverse tonto vibes, as our tip is slanted down ever so slightly. At the end of the day, I think the Dibs has a very cool blade shape and it feels perfect in a traditional grip, but it's also pretty comfy to use when I choke up on it. Its handle, despite being skeletonized, feels my hand nicely, and most surprisingly, this chunk of D2 tool steel also has a pretty good balance and comes razor sharp out of the box. It also has a nice and even factory edge, which is certainly not typical of Gerber, and I must admit that this is the best factory edge I have ever seen from this company, 100%. Another thing that blows my mind is that the Dibs features a pristine PVD finish that holds up like a champ. So if I do not consider the garbage/recycled garbage sheath, this knife comes across a tiny bit more premium compared to what I paid for it, which was like $26 or something. Maybe this is the reason why one of my friends wants to snag it after I'm done with my review. So as a bottom line, what do I think about the Gerber Dibs before I give this knife away? Well, certainly not calling dibs on it, that's for sure, but I understand why some people find it appealing. However, if you ask me what budget knife to try, I'd say don't bother with this Gerber, as I would much rather go for a more basic, which is probably the cheapest knife in my entire collection, and it is definitely an amazing bang for your buck. Or if you desperately want to try a skeletonized fixie, I also recommend trying the Rainier Fastpack with Bowler Elmax blade steel, which is hands down my favorite knife in this category. I already reviewed these two knives, so if you'd like to know more about them, I invite you to check out my previous videos. Thank you for sticking around all the way, and I'll see you in the next one.